right, welcome everybody. Shane Carter here, Hampshire Capital. Along with me, as always, our VP of Investor Relations, Eddie Austin. What's going on, Eddie?
Man, another beautiful day. It's good. It's warm outside. Feeling fantastic. Before we started this video, we got to talking about just fragmentation, getting fragmented by so many things, the busy work. You know, we're both entrepreneurs. We got other things that we do outside of just our daily living. And it's so easy to just get sidetracked by some things seem important when it really gets us off what the main goal or the main vision is. It really means the most to us, or what would really move the needle.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So great. I'm glad we're talking about this today because it's something that I think we all need a consistent reminder about this. It's something that I know in my past I have focused on for a period of time, and it has been extremely helpful for me. But inevitably, you get that slippage, right? You get that sort of that creep, that all those things, though, all those busy task things slip back into your schedule and start to take over your mind again and start to clog your vision with all of those emails. Emails is a huge one, right?
Yeah.
But beyond that, there are still tons and tons of tasks or things that other people are asking you to do that aren't really that mission critical path. That one thing, that those handful of things that you really just need to focus on that are going to produce the biggest results. What's the one thing that you can do that will remove barriers in other areas of your life or in your business? I think that's really the question, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, if you had one focused hour every single day, if that's all you had to work on that one thing that meant the most to you, and you took 1 hour and that's all you did, you shut off all systems and just focused on just that one thing, how long would it take you to get it done then? And if it was super important to you, what if you spent 6 hours a day on that? Like, that's all you focused on for that 6 hours. You got up, you went to the gym, ate your breakfast, got to the office, took your lunch with you, and just for 6 hours, that's all you worked on was getting this task done. And, you know, I'm guilty of it. The phone rings, an email comes in, and you instantly see it, and you're like, oh, crap. And then you instantly go to work, you know, solving that task, and then another task comes, and then before you know it, you're way off your goal.
Yeah.
You're way off of where you need to be.
And there's that fragmentation, right? And there's we sort of all came up in this society of multitasking, right? Multitasking was this big thing, and I'm a great multitasker. Multitasking is actually scientifically proven to be ineffective and to not actually be productive at all. If your mind is over here doing this and then it's over here doing that, and then you're jumping back and forth, it feels to you, the person, that you're getting a lot done because your mind is very busy. Then you're jumping around and time goes really fast because you filled it with so much to do. But the actual facts are that you're taking 1.5 to 2 times as long to do each one of those tasks as if you had just focused on them clearly for 30, 45, 60 minutes and just got them done with everything else cleared out of your mind. Just clear, dedicated focus time. And that is a skill set that needs to be learned and cultivated.
Yeah. So how's it saying go? You're good at many tasks, master of none.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Jack of all trades. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Right. And look, man, I'll be the first to admit that I have been so guilty of this through the years.
It's just easy. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you learn to think on your feet. You've got to take care of things when they come up. But one of the most important things I used to teach them when I managed a lot of people was to be proactive and not reactive. Even if you have it on the tip of your tongue, just give me just a few minutes, finish whatever you're doing, and then turn around to that person and say, here's what we need to do. In that short period of time, you became a proactive mindset instead of a reactive mindset.
That's right.
Because it's so easy to react all day long to where you finished nothing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you're being judged on your performance, next day when you go in your morning meeting, you go in there and, Eddie, where were we at with this? Where were we at with that? Nothing got done. You put out a lot of fires, but you didn't actually accomplish anything that you were supposed to be getting done.
That's exactly right. And so, look, man, one of my tips and tricks, and one of the things that I do, that again, I've even had slippage on this one that I've had to continue to remind myself not to do is, look, email is a tab. It's something you can open and close, right? People forget it's like a phone, right? Like this thing, you can actually turn this off.
Yeah.
It can go off. Right? People know that you can turn this thing off, and it won't bother you at all until you turn it back on. And email's the same way. You can shut it off. You can close that tab. You can not look at it, and you can make sure that you have in your schedule a dedicated, focused block of an hour where you're going to just do that mission critical task that moves the ball that day, right? What is that one thing? What is that thing? Which is, by the way, a great book that I've read. If and listeners have read that, The One Thing. I think it's Gary Keller Williams guy. Fantastic book. Breaks it down into really, again, being able to focus your efforts on any given day down to that one thing that moves the needle for your business. And then once you do that, you're good. You did your one thing. Everything else that happens after that is like a cherry on top. It's a celebration because you focused and did your one thing. And I think that also the key to that is that's the first thing you do. Like you said, you get up, whether your morning routine is get the kids ready, go to the gym, eat your breakfast. When you get to in your workspace, turn your phone off, shut your emails down, don't even open them. Focus on your one thing. That first hour of the day should be that. And then once you get that done, okay, now you can open the filter up to what are those texts and those emails and those phone calls? What are they, Eddie? There's somebody else's agenda for you.
Exactly. Another book that I really like is Who Not How.
Yes.
And that book puts it so well. It's, we're both visionaries, and, visions are beautiful. They can get so bogged down because you start to realize that there's no way possible you can do all these little things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing about getting fragmented is you have to also understand, and this might be another podcast, but you have to also understand that you don't have to do everything. There's someone else that you could employ. There's someone that would be willing to help you. Not all of those tasks. Sometimes being a good delegator is powerful. And someone else can complete things for you. And so I think one of the worst mindsets entrepreneurs get is that you have to be the one to do it. Like it's your experience. It's you're the only one that can complete this task. BS. It's not
total
true.
BS.
Yes.
Look, and in my personal experience, Eddie, pretty much everybody else is better than me at most of those tasks too, right? So it actually benefits the company and me to delegate that to somebody else to do because I frankly won't do it as well as somebody else might. And look, that's an important skill set that, again, I've had to learn through the years. I was a do-it-yourself kind of guy, and, I can do everything, and it's a bad mindset. It kept me down for years.
Yeah. So to really summarize or bring this all into focus, when we talk about fragmentation here and just really step by step, you think about it, if you leave the world open to let things bother you, to pay attention to your phone when it goes off, to pay attention to the email when it pops up on the screen, and then you start getting off that path onto answering that email, that leads into taking this phone call. Before you know it, you're not even in the office anymore. And you cannot get fragmented. It's something you got to really think about. What is the end goal? Shane talked about this right before we started the camera. Is what really moves the needle, and that's what you got to ask yourself. And I would highly recommend writing down your goals. So writing down a goal for every day, back checking the goals and how they went, and to really go through that, because there's probably certain goals or certain things that you want to accomplish in life that really mean something to you. And if you really start putting down what needs to happen to make that goal happen, to move that needle forward, and then really protect your time and don't get fragmented by answering the text message, answering the phone. It's not to being rude to your people that need your attention. This is what means the most to you. And I just had this conversation with a gentleman this morning, actually. If you can't save yourself, you're no help to anyone else.
Amen. That's the truth.
And that's the thing, is maybe the thing that you are moving the needle with would help thousands of people. It would make you a better person. It would create a company that would actually create jobs. It would create something that would help someone else. And if we get fragmented to the point that vision or dream never came true, you're no good to anybody else. And that's a harsh way to put it, but that's true. It
is true. So I'm going to add a couple of things, man. So I've done this now on a handful of occasions. The most recent one was a charity golf tournament that I got pulled into last minute. They had a guy call out, and I had a professional engineer that we know, contractor reach out and say, "Hey, Shane, we got a spot. It's for Tuesday next week. We'd really love to have you. Here's the charity. It's a great time. It's a great event." And it was basically from 8 to 2. So it was the majority of the day, right? It was a 6-hour, full, 18 hole plus the, luncheon and award ceremony and so on and so forth. And I thought real hard, gosh, I got so much going on. But I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it, right? I hadn't really connected with these folks, and I needed time to just kind of get out of my space. And, for the most part, I really, didn't even check my phone, didn't check emails, a couple here and there, things that came through. Of course, when the wife calls, I got to take that call, right? But here's my point. 6 hours went by, and I basically didn't look at any emails or do any emails or text messages and phone calls and all of that, right? And I didn't give anybody fair warning. I didn't have an out of office email on that day. And what I found was, when I got done with that, and I still had an hour from 2 to 3 p.m. before I needed to pick up my son and go to the gym with him, I got all the emails done. I got the entire 6 hours worth of emails, phone calls, text messages done in 1 hour, Eddie. Mm-hmm. I let it build up, and I did it all in 1 hour, and the whole day was done. And so how much time do we waste, though, throughout that day checking that and rechecking that and then saying, oh, I got to reply to that? Now, instead, what I had was I had a task list of things I needed to do the next day. And I laid those out in my calendar, and I set them up, and I time blocked them, and I produced a very efficient workload from that. But all of that came after my one thing that I needed to do that day. And so to me, the one thing also, I'm just going to go on from that point to start big. Start with, what is your big picture? What's your 50-year vision? Right? Yep. What's your 30-year vision? What's your 20? What's your 10? What's your 5-year? Work your way back down to, what is your 1-year goal? What's your quarterly goal? What's your monthly goal? And then what do you need to do on a week-by-week basis? What do you need to do today then to get you to the weekly goal, to get you blah, blah, blah? And to me, one of the questions that I keep asking myself, and that we should all continue to ask ourselves, is what's the one thing that if I solve that one thing, it would solve 90% of everything else in my life or in my business or in whatever issue that I have. You can always try to boil it down to, there is this one thing. But if you don't ask that question, then it's hard to ever find out what that thing is, right? Right. But for most of us, you can boil it down to, it clears all the distractions away and all the fragmentations away, and gets you real clear on, okay, what is this one thing that if I solve it, everything else becomes effortless. Everything else is solved, and things can just compound in a positive manner for me from there.
Yeah, 100%.
Powerful.
That's powerful. Very. I would definitely recommend people look at that. I recently had some friends and some family ask me the same question: is where is Eddie Austin in 10 years? Where are you in 20 years? When you start thinking about that, it becomes real clear on the things you're doing that are important and what is not important.
Right.
There are certain things that you'd probably let go of in your life. It'd be like, you know what? This is not my path. This is not something that would get me to where I want to go. And then you can start throwing out the junk.
Yeah.
There's probably meetings or something you're doing that just is no benefit. And it's misaligned focus. It's just a fragment, in my opinion.
That's right. That's exactly right. And to me, the thing that's exciting too is, first of all, by the way, it's super important to write these things down, like actually physically write or type into a document of some type. But it's very, very important to put it in the physical space somehow. Take it out of your brain and put it in the physical space of what is that 10-year, 20-year, 50-year. Go as big as you can. Stretch your mind as far as you can, because that is what actually allows your subconscious to lead you on that path, especially when you put it in the physical world. But yeah, there's I think it's exciting because, for me anyway, I'll speak for myself. 10 years ago, if you said, "Hey Shane, here's who you'll be in 10 years, here's what you'll be doing, and here's what you'll be focused on," it wasn't in my mind that this is what I would be doing. I mean, I'm in a similar path that I was 10 years ago, but my mindset has elevated and my vision has elevated so much in 10 years that I didn't know that I would be here and that I'd have this vision that I'm at now. So to me, I'm hoping that 10 years from now, henceforth, that I'll have a similar experience of saying, wow, I didn't think I'd be here. This is amazing that I accomplished that in 10 years. So kind of exciting when you think about it that way.
Oh, it is. I want to add just a few more little things here. You had said some things there that really ring true, and I think other people can implement this in their business as well. Is when you think about your key partners that you're with and things like that, it would probably also be a very good idea, to look at the big picture of where everybody's going. And there's probably also ways that you might have a similar path that you could find out that if you had more people, the who, not how, you had more who's that were aligned in the same vision, the same goal, you could essentially get there less than 10 years.
You get there faster.
If you just realize that, dude, you have the same goal that I do. You have the same vision that I do. Man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then you could start figuring out the plan of who needs to do what to get to where we want to go. I am good at X and you are good at this. So who is good at Z? And let's figure this all out. And now we can truly go somewhere.
That's right.
This all started as a conversation getting fragmented, but here's the thing is I think it's kind of like going through life without purpose or going through life without direction.
Which is like going through your day without purpose or direction.
Exactly. And then you're just bumping through stuff. You're just answering the phone here, email there. You got to email this guy. Oh, I need to drive over here. You don't even think about, you got to drive an hour there and an hour back. That's 2 hours. And you're just thinking about driving. You're not thinking about taking a phone call. You're not thinking about putting it on the ebook or some type of audio program to listen to. And, you're just bumping through it. Then you're 6 o'clock. You were supposed to have dinner with the wife at 5. Your whole day's shot. You got nothing accomplished. It's a mess. It's a total mess.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
So you really got to protect your time. You really got to make sure that you're not getting blown up. You got to make sure that this solid portion in the middle is not getting blown up by all the other things that come at you.
Yep, 100%. And, I think for me, just to kind of wrap this up a little bit, I've been on a number of different panels, presentations, podcasts, interviews, etc. And, a common question that, is sort of typical to ask in those situations is, hey, Shane, you're whatever age you are and you've accomplished what you've accomplished. If you were to go back and talk to your 20-year-old self and give them some wise, sage advice based on what you've learned so far in life, what would you tell your 20-year-old self, Shane? It's a great question, right?
It is. It really is. Yeah.
But my answer is the same every time, Eddie, and it's 100% about what this episode is. It's that I would go back to 20-year-old Shane and I would tell him, hey, guess what? You're going to figure out that you can make money at a lot of different things, and you can get shiny object syndrome every other week, and you can make money on all these different things and all these different ventures and all these different ideas that you have because you're an entrepreneur vision mindset. But what you need to do is figure out that one thing that you can become amazing at and an expert at, and focus your energies into that one venture, and you will be far more successful than you ever would be by getting fragmented into all these disparate areas. And that's essentially the story of my professional life. Until a number of years ago when I finally got super clear and got ultimate clarity on my path. But that's the advice I would give, right? And it's so easy to get fragmented and get shiny object syndrome. But when you go deep, not wide, that's when you find true success.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I know. I had someone ask me similar questions, and they said, "What got you to think like you think now?" And I said, honestly, a legal pad. And they said, a legal pad. And I said, yep, I always strive to make a six-figure job. I always strive to make $100,000 a year. And I said, I always want to retire early. I want to retire by 40. That was always my dream, was always retire by 40. So I had a clear vision at a very young age. I was running around telling people that didn't even want to listen, some that did want to listen, that I'm going to retire by 40. Didn't even know why, but that was my dream. And then I got real clear on what that was going to take, and that legal pad's what helped. Because what I did was I wrote down $100,000 a year. I wrote down my after-tax, what I actually got from my paycheck after taxes, and then I just put down my mortgage, my car payment, my insurance, all that stuff, and then seeing what I had left. And then I'm like, okay, I'm at this age. I just went on my calculator, and whatever I had for my savings, what I actually saved in real money, I just hit times that many years to 40 years old, and I went, this ain't gonna work. This is not going to work. This is not going to get me where I want to go. So what do I need to do next? And yeah, I went through multiple paths, but what it really comes down to is what you're going to have to do is learn a skill set that makes you money in a much shorter period of time.
That's
because
exactly right.
40 years old don't move.
No.
You're born on X date, and 40-year-old is this date. That is not going to move. That's
a fixed point in time. That's right.
Yeah. So the only thing you can do is what's in between.
Yep. I love it, man. I love it. Well, look, this has been a great episode as always. I think we shared some hopefully some great value out there for the listeners. And again, these are all things that we all need to continue to remind ourselves of on a weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis. Give yourself a reminder in your own calendar, right? Put it out a couple months.
Absolutely.
Stay focused. Don't fragment. Pick your one thing every day and do that first, and watch your results improve dramatically.
In closing, I would say this: always evaluate what you are doing, because it's a habit that is just easy to. It's a distraction that's just so easy to creep in, and always evaluate before you go to react. Wait a minute, is this aligned with what I have to accomplish today?
Yeah. Is
this going to help me where I want to go? Is this helping my partners where I want to go? We always have to evaluate our actions. Yep. It's very easy to react. It's human nature to react. We're born reacting to everything that happens to us. You have to be proactive, and it's an instant. You have to swoop. Nope, I'm going to do that later.
Yep.
Right now, I got to focus on this. So
very
for
good,
our listener, again, thank you so much for the time. If you have anything that you would like us to, make a episode that speaks to you, maybe about investing or multifamily or land entitlement, anything that we've talked about during these episodes, they come out, every week. And if there's something we could create value for you, or something maybe you want to jump on the podcast with us,
Sure.
Send it to us. and let's think about it. And let's think about having you on the podcast as well, and maybe a Q&A session, whatever that is. But we're here to add value. So please, by all means, like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell and share it with your friends.
All right.
Thank you all so much.
We'll see you next time.
Yes.